Some of us are outwardly successful, but inwardly feel unhappy and living a life lacking in purpose and meaning. The Necktie and the Jaguar by Carl Greer can help you discover what's important to you and how to go for it. For more information or to purchase the book, visit carlgreer.com. That's CarlGreer.com. Welcome to Inspired Living with Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector. Every Wednesday, Marc, along with his special guests, will explore thought-provoking topics and ideas that promote creativity, self-help, healing, happiness, and well-being to inspire you on your spiritual journey. Each week, Marc will discuss different paths to achieving a more spiritual, balanced, happy, and healthy lifestyle. Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience and all things spiritual. Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. Marc is a tested, certified, and professional spiritual medium, metaphysical teacher, healer, and spiritual advisor with a spiritual practice based in Seattle, Washington. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
Be strong when you are weak. Be brave when you are scared. Be humble when you are victorious. That's some Native American wisdom and just a little bit of what we're going to be sharing here in the next hour as we discuss Cherokee Wisdom and 12 lessons for becoming a powerful leader. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful, awakening, healing, transformative planet of ours. This is Inspired Living Radio. I'm your host, Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, and I just want to say thank you for joining us this hour live through internet radio. And just remember, if you missed the live show, you can always catch Inspired Living Radio now going through your favorite podcast platform, whether that's iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Podcasts, the list goes on and on and on. We're live on the air Wisdom Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. And if you find yourself in Hawaii, that's 9 a.m. If you're in Colorado, that's 1 p.m. If you're in Chicago, that's 2 p.m. If you're in Boston, that's 3 p.m. And for our friends across the pond, it's 8 p.m. there in London or 9 p.m. in Rome. Welcome to Inspired Living Radio, to all of our inspired listeners, where we like to say you are the inspired in the inspiration. Today is going to be a very inspiring hour as we dive deeper into a book. We have our guests returning to the show. It's been a couple years. They had come on a couple years ago to talk about the same philosophy, wisdom, and knowledge, and share with us the Native American culture, which I've always been drawn to and fascinated with. And today we're going to be talking about leadership, 12 lessons for becoming a powerful leader with the Cherokee Wisdom. And I think given this day and age, we could all use a little bit better leadership in what's going on in the world. If you want to check out Inspired Living Radio beyond the podcasting platforms, you can always catch us here on OMTimes Radio. The global player is active now. You can listen to us anywhere from around the world on any device, no memberships, no passwords, no BS. And if you want to follow us on social media, you can follow us on Facebook, which is Inspired Living Radio. That's our main inspired audience page, and we're about to hit 2,000 listeners, so thank you. And you can also follow us over on Instagram and Twitter at Inspired For Us. That's the number 4, Inspired For Us. And of course, you can always post a question to our public Facebook page or the OMTimes Radio call-in lines at 1-202-570-7057. And with that, let's jump in with both feet and talk about this wonderful book. I loved going through it this last week, and just the knowledge and the wisdom and the strength and everything that's been baked into this book. I really enjoyed. And our guest today is going to be Cynthia M. Ruiz and Abraham Bearpaw. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of background about them, and then we'll bring them into the show and start to talk about this book. Cynthia M. Ruiz is a professor, best-selling author. She has 8 books. She's also an executive coach. She's an inspirational speaker, and she's a leadership expert. She's received over 75 accolades and awards for her leadership and service to the city of Los Angeles. Thank you for your service. She currently serves as commission president for LACERS, Los Angeles City Employment Retirement Systems. That's what LACER stands for, overseeing a multi-billion-dollar pension portfolio. Cynthia has been an executive in the public sector and is an author or co-author of 8 books. As a professor, she received the President's Award from the University of West Los Angeles, UWLA, for her work as an outstanding professor. Cynthia teaches leadership at UWLA School of Business as both the graduate and undergraduate levels. She has over 20 years of experience teaching and public speaking. She has received the Cherokee Nation Community Leader of the Year Award. Congratulations for her service to her tribe. Cynthia holds a Master's of Science degree in counseling from California State University, Los Angeles, and has completed a leadership course at Harvard University, John F. Kennedy School of Government. She is a Latina and a Native American living in Los Angeles. You can learn more about her at cynthiamruiz.com. And Mr. Abraham Bearpaw, who it goes by Bear, is a motivational speaker, a cultural preservation activist, and family perseverance specialist. Say that 3 times fast. He is a Cherokee citizen from Rocky Mountain, Oklahoma, and is the Special Projects Officer for the Cherokee Nation Community and Cultural Outreach. Mr. Bearpaw is also a motivational speaker, and he uses Cherokee cultural teachings to help others to learn to walk in balance. And I think a lot of us could learn to walk in balance given these days. He grew up with a foundation in Native American leadership, and as his aunt, Wilma Mankiller, was the only female principal chief of the Cherokee Nation for 10 years. His Cherokee name is Yana, which means bear. He is the co-author of the book, Cherokee Wisdom, 12 Lessons for Becoming a Powerful Leader. He is a positive male role model in the Native American community and has been clean and sober for many, many years. Congratulations on that. And you can find the book that we're going to be talking about today on all of the major outlets, from Amazon to their websites. And with that, you guys, that was a lot. Welcome to Inspired Living Radio. You guys are underachievers, I have to tell you. So welcome to Inspired Living. Thanks for being our guest, and welcome back to the show.
Well, Mark, thank you so much. We really appreciate this opportunity to have the conversation. And Mark, I just want to take a minute to acknowledge you, because you do such fantastic work and you truly inspire so many. So thank you for that. Abraham?
Thank you. Thank you, my friend.
Yes, I'd like to reiterate that. Thank you for the work that you do. I'm very humbled to be on today and just share this message that has been passed down to us from the ancestors. So thank you very much.
Yes, and so, Mark, if you will, what I would like to start off with is a land acknowledgement. Now, I know we're all in different parts of the United States. I'm in Los Angeles, but it's really important for me to acknowledge the first peoples of this land. For me, in Los Angeles, it's the Tongva Gabrielinos, and each of us, are in different areas. But I just want to take a second and acknowledge the first peoples of this land.
Yes, very much so. And I would be up here in Seattle, which is Chief Seattle, and we have a lot of different Native American tribes in this part of the Pacific Northwest, and so I definitely would add to that, Cynthia.
Thank you for that.
Okay. So thank you. Sometimes that silence we need, right? Just that silence to acknowledge and to listen. And I hope that we take the next 45 minutes for our listening audience out there to really listen to the messages from our ancestors and those that came before us, because it does make a huge difference in how we move forward. And Cynthia and Abraham, this is the second edition of the book. So why did you guys publish a second edition?
Well, what happened was initially I did the first edition by myself, and it did well, but I realized something was missing. And in Cherokee culture, we believe in harmony and balance. So I reached out to Abraham, who's a good friend of mine, and invited him to participate in the second edition because I wanted to have the balance of not only the masculine and feminine perspective, but also I live in an urban environment, and he lives in Oklahoma in Cherokee Nation. So I believe that having diversity in thought, diversity in perspective is so important, and it's been such a great collaboration, and we actually turned the book into a program for our young people, Generation Z in Cherokee Nation. So earlier this year, we did Cherokee Wisdom for Gen Z and through Cherokee Nation, and we had 3,600 young people participate. So it's about, for us, it's about getting the knowledge and wisdom out.
And that's what we're doing in conjunction with that right here on Inspired Living Radio, getting the message out as this, podcast. We'll go over to podcast, and it'll be out there for years to come for people to listen to this show and the knowledge and the wisdom. And, this hour is going to go by so quick. So I just want to get into some further inspiration for our listening audience out there. And there was a part in the book in the introduction that I loved what Abraham Bearpaw. Do you just want to go by Bear, or do you want to go by Abraham?
Either one is fine. Whatever is more comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I believe this came from your aunt, or was it your mother, Wilma Mankiller?
Yeah, she's my aunt.
Mom? Your aunt. Okay. I knew I read that somewhere. But what I liked when I was reading this book is, for our listeners out there, the most fulfilled people are the ones who get up every morning and stand for something larger than themselves. They are the people who care about others, who will extend a helping hand to someone in need, or will speak up about an injustice when they see it. And that quote really, Abraham, hit me, because that's a lot of what I do. It's a lot of what I stand for. It's why I do this show. And, empathy and looking out for those that can't look out for themselves, and taking care and community. And we see a lot of that, but we also see a lot of change taking place in our society and on our planet. So I just wanted to say, when I opened the book and read that, I was like, okay, that's really, that's very inspiring. And you both are Cherokee citizens. So let's get into the history. Let's dive into the Cherokee Nation, the tribe, the cultural aspects, because some of my listeners may not know anything about Cherokee. This may be the first time they're hearing about it, depending on their age. So let's talk a little bit about that before we go to our first commercial break.
Sounds good. Yes, definitely. And I'd like to take a second and just thank you for picking that quote out in particular. Of course, as you said, my Aunt Wilma Mankiller was the principal chief of our tribe. And, that was a very tumultuous time when she was leading, because the Cherokee Nation had just started to reform again. So originally, we are from North Carolina. North Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama, that part of the region of the United States. And in 1839, we were forcibly removed. So along with, many tribes, right, we ended up in Oklahoma. And, that move, of course, it wasn't with movers, and it wasn't very hospitable. We were forcibly removed, with many people just being able to take what they could carry. And, they made that trek on foot. And, unfortunately, many of our citizens passed away, during that time. And that trail, they call it, it's commonly referred to as the Trail of Tears. A lot of people perished. And so, that trail is littered with, graves from our citizens. But we made it here to Oklahoma, and now we are about 450,000 strong in our tribe. There are actually three bands of Cherokees. There are the Eastern Band, who are in North Carolina, United Katua Band, and the Cherokee Nation. And that's the tribe that I belong to, the Cherokee Nation. And so we have our capital here now in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. And, we are a matrilineal society. I think that's one of the things that really makes us unique, is the fact that all of our clanship and a lot of our stories and, possessions are passed down through the mother. And, women have always had a really important role in our tribe. They have had leadership positions, even way back before, they came over on the Mayflower. And so, one of the things my Aunt Wilma said was, when she was chief, she experienced a lot more prejudice, due to the fact that she was a woman, than the fact that she was Native. So the fact that she was able to be chief, lead us for so many years, I feel like she really laid the groundwork for so many female leaders that we have today. And, the Cherokee people have always really kind of, I don't know if you call it progressive or being ahead of your time, but we just understood you cannot have a full offering of, your citizens' talents if 50% of the population isn't allowed to be in those leadership roles, right? And so that really makes me proud. I'm really proud of my tribe, for the fact that we have, I feel like, come full circle, and we have so many young Native leaders coming up. We actually have 2 congresswomen now who are Native American. And, to see this next generation, the Gen Z generation, and the fire that they have in their eyes to make this country continue to build and continue to progress and, continue to spread love and bring each other. I feel like we're bringing each other closer together. And it's this next generation that's really going to do that. But, of course, they are standing on the shoulders of some really great people who have come before us, you included, because you have this show and you bring that awareness out there. So, that's just a little bit about the Cherokee tribe.
Well, thank you for sharing. And I always believe, as Eckhart Tolle always talks about, awareness is the greatest agent for change. But awareness without action also is suffering. And so what we're doing today is creating that change in awareness and taking action. And we're going to go to our first break, and we're going to come back and continue this awesome conversation. And I just want to, before we go to our break, I want to read a quote from Chief Seattle. Since I am here in Seattle, it's from 1854, and he says, "Humankind has not woven the web of life. We are but one thread within it. Whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves. All things are bound together. All things connect." We'll be back here after our first commercial break here on Inspired Living Radio. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
The future of Internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
Hello, listeners. We hope you're enjoying the shows here on OMTimes Radio. Marc Lainhart here, and host of Inspired Living Radio. And I'd like to invite you to my morning show of inspiration, encouragement, healing, motivations, transformations, and discovering that diamond within. Metaphysical Mocha Mondays every Monday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, over on the Intuitive Prospector Facebook page and my YouTube channel, Soul Adventures. Dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live, and discover that diamond within.
COVID-19, brought to you by CDC and the Ad Council.
Do you feel like your emotions are all over the place? That's normal during this abnormal time. There are a number of ways to cope. Maintain a healthy routine, get enough sleep, eat nutritious food, and exercise at least 30 minutes each day. Schedule some time to talk with a friend or family member. And remember, you can always take a few deep breaths to feel more centered.
Find more self-care and coping tips at coping-19.org.
Leader, integrity, strong, humble, confident, respect and acknowledgement, cooperative, communicative, determined, responsible, patient, teacher. Those are the 12 attributes of leadership according to Cherokee Wisdom. Welcome back to Inspired Living Radio. Our today's special guest, Cynthia M. Ruiz and Abraham Bearpaw, talking about their second edition to the book, Cherokee Wisdom, 12 Lessons for Becoming a Powerful Leader. Abraham, thank you for sharing that story. And you're right, we stand upon the shoulders of change. And one of the changes that I see currently that are taking place from our history catching up with us is, changing Columbus Day, which is a federal holiday, to Indigenous People Day. And that's going to take place. That's going to become, it's about halfway there, I would say. Even, we have a federal holiday, Juneteenth now, to celebrate our history. Even if tragic and violent and chaotic, we are starting to have awareness and acknowledge our history, which I think is very, very important. And I may be wrong here, but did the Cherokee Nation just win a lawsuit to receive a bunch of land back? Was that the Cherokee Nation, or am I getting that wrong?
There were actually several tribes involved, and it really covers northeast Oklahoma. But yes, that ruling came down, known as the McGirt ruling, came down, and there was a big win for tribes here in Oklahoma. Okay,
yeah, I thought I remember reading about that or seeing that. And so, again, that's the ripple effect. That is the change, the waves of change. And I always say, if you're not up with the waves of change, you find yourself underneath them. So let's continue talking, because there's just so much to try to cover in an hour. For the both of you, what are some of the basic beliefs of the Cherokees?
So for the Cherokees, we believe at our core, we have a very holistic view of the world. We believe as individuals, we're connected to everything. Not only everything that's ever been, everything that's currently exists, and everything that will be. So we know that when we take actions, it affects everything. We also, as Cherokee leaders, know that when we're making decisions, we remember 7 generations behind us, which are our ancestors, and we take into consideration 7 generations in the future. So we have a very holistic view, and at the core of who we are, we believe that everything should be in harmony and balance. Abraham, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yes, just, adding to that, with balance, that was pretty much, what Cynthia was talking about in the beginning, with adding that male perspective to the book. Men and women, we balance each other out, just like night and day. And we have a lot of ceremonies, actually, that revolve around the different seasons. And so, one of them is the green corn ceremony. And during the green corn ceremony, that is our new year. It happens in July. And it really encompasses what Cherokee life is about. And so during that time, we are taught to be mindful, we're taught to forgive, and we're taught to be grateful. And so, we forgive all the past wrongdoings, no matter what has happened to you, because Cherokees recognize that holding on, to all of that anger, all of that resentment, that can make you sick. And so, that forgiveness and I believe that gratitude, it really has helped us, through all of these tumultuous times.
Yeah. And speaking of tumultuous times, the forgiveness aspect, forgiveness, if you don't have forgiveness, it keeps them in control. And when you have that forgiveness, it's a release. It's a moving forward. And, this book about being a powerful leader, in the first few pages, you talk about, there's not one size fits all when it comes to being a leader. And I think we're seeing a lot of that in today's society, and especially with the divine feminine and the woman energy. Like you said, there's 2 Native Americans now. One's New Mexico. Where's the other one that's serving as a woman that's representative of a tribe?
Kansas.
New Mexico and Kansas, thank you. Yep. And, we're starting to see those waves of change about different styles of leadership. And in the book, you talk about the traditional styles of leadership that fall into several general categories, but are not limited to autocratic leadership, democratic leadership, hands-off leadership, hybrid leadership style. With where we're at in society right now, it almost feels like the leadership is changing between autocratic and democratic and a little bit of hands-off. Where do you guys see, with your experiences and knowledge and wisdom, of what is currently going on in our society? Because a big part of that is based on leadership.
Well, first of all, as Cherokees, we believe in the style of servant leadership. Leaders should be there to serve the community and serve others. one of the things we talk about in the book, and let me just say, this is not original content. We're not going to take credit for this content. This content that we're sharing with everybody is actually content that we received from our ancestors. It's been around Cherokee Nation many, many years. We were the first tribe to actually have our own language and our own written language through a syllabary, which was established by Sequoyah. So we've, not only do we storytell, but we have written documents to show that a lot of these concepts have been around a long time. So one of the things that we feel very strongly about is humility. We feel that, especially for the political leaders in this world, need to be more humble, because they really should get more to a style of servant leadership and less ego. And, humility for us is, everybody's different. Everybody has their own journey, and it's about, you're no better than anyone else. Just because you have the title of senator, congress member, whatever it is in front of your name, doesn't make you better than anybody else. It just gives you a different set of responsibility. So we believe very strongly in servant leadership.
Yes, and just, building upon that, what Cynthia said, we are all leaders. That's one of the things in, researching and writing my part for this book, I was able to realize and really remember back who were the first people I looked up to as leaders. I had so many really powerful, wonderful mentors in my life, but it was my big brothers and sisters. It was my older cousins. Those were the first leaders that I looked up to, the people who I modeled my behavior after and who I wanted to be like. And so, our young people, they may not see themselves already as leaders, but there are people looking up to you, no matter what your age. And, the leaders in our family, our parents, our grandparents, aunts and uncles. And then, whether you're in the workplace in those leadership positions, you want people to believe in what you say and to follow you because they believe in you. And if you follow these attributes, that's the kind of legitimacy that we're talking about. You want people to follow you out of faith, not out of fear. And I believe, when you hold yourself accountable, when you strive yourself to be the best person you can be and walk in balance, then you are going to have a great team around you.
I love that. And I just remind people that all great leaders, whether they're politicians or not politicians, all come from women. So just a reminder out there for our listening audience that all great leaders do come from women. And, people seem to forget that. And a lot of our world is ruled by men, and we wonder why it's so chaotic. So both of you have Cherokee names. I had named them in the opening of the show. Can we just dive into the namesake and the meaning and history for both of you?
Yes. Well, for me, originally... sorry. Go ahead, Cynthia.
So for me, my Cherokee name actually only came recently, because in the Cherokee way, you get your Cherokee name from your grandmother. Well, unfortunately, my grandmother's passed, my aunts all passed, and my mom had dementia, so I leaned into the Cherokee tribe and found one of our elders who helped me through ceremony get my name. So my Cherokee name is actually Lion Mother. And Lion Mother is a big deal because mothers play such an important role in the Cherokee culture. And lion, or in my case the lioness, sits on the rock above and overlooks the community. So with my name, Lion Mother, it comes with a lot of responsibility to nurture our community, to care for our community, and lead our community. Abraham?
And thank you, Cynthia. And I think that is a very appropriate name for you, by the way, Cynthia. That is a very powerful name. I love that name. For me, my Cherokee name is Yona, which means bear. And, of course, you call it, I don't know what you call it, my government name is Abraham Bearpaw. But I was named by my grandmother, and, just shortly after I was born. And, like Cynthia said, that's how a lot of people will get their name, although, you can get it from, other elders or respected people in the community. And, my last name's Bearpaw. So originally, there was just a man named Bearpaw. Cherokees, we just usually, we only had one name, before we adopted the first, middle, and last name format. And so when they came across, they said, well, no, you're not Bearpaw. Now you are Jonathan Bearpaw. And they just took his name and they, put it to the last. And so from then on, that's how our names got passed down. And so, but there has been a resurgence lately for people, instead of saying, oh, my name's Abraham Bearpaw, but my Cherokee name is Yona, then they're just going back to the one name. And so you're seeing that more and more and more. And I think that's a really great thing for us to return, back to our culture. And, for a long time, assimilation has really been pushed at us hard, forced assimilation. And I see now a return to our culture, because I think that, the United States, it really sees our culture and other people's cultures as, an addition to American culture. And they're able to see the benefits of having all of these cultures together instead of just trying to, make us all the same. I think what makes America so beautiful, when I go to LA, I can walk 2 blocks and hear so many different languages spoken. And to me, that's really what the dream of America is all of us embracing, all of our cultural, different cultural, beautiful things, and sharing them with one another.
Oh, I love that. Thanks for sharing, you guys. And that's why, I remind people, too, to look back at history. History is not there for us to like or dislike, right? It's there to teach us so we don't repeat the same mistakes moving forward. And I agree with both of you. I believe that the times have really changed, the awareness, the acceptance, the transformation. I keep calling it the great coming together, but I also know before a great coming together, there's usually something that triggers for us to all be able to look at each other and say, yes, we all have different backgrounds. We all have different names. We all look different, but in the end, we all have hearts with blood, and we're humans living on one planet. And that's where we're going to get to. And, it's just the acceptance of it, right? And society is changing. And Cynthia, I loved how you did a callback for this book of your ancestors, because a lot of times people like to take things on and make it their own. And even with the work that I do as a medium or as a psychic, there's a lot of connotations and labels and opinions and judgments that go with that. And I always, say it's not about the work I do. It's about the ancestors before me and people that started to create these awareness to the different work we do, the Cherokee Nation, the different type of spiritual shamanism, the list goes on. And it's always important to honor those that came before us. And so I just want to acknowledge and say thank you for doing that, because a lot of people don't do that. So,
well, yeah. So Abraham and I are we've had many discussions about this. We just feel very honored and grateful that we have been selected by our ancestors to carry these messages. And they're not our messages. We are vehicles for both the Creator and our ancestors to try to make a positive difference in this world, bring more love, bring more compassion, bring more balance. So so we're just very blessed and grateful that we are able to carry this message. But it's not our original content, so we're not going to try to steal it.
Yeah. Yeah. And, as my mentor always reminds me, many are called, but few are chosen. And, when you do this work with integrity, and when you do this work with balance, and you do it with honesty and love, then the message, like you said, Abraham, I'm just going to say Bear. I'm just going to call you by Bear. That, it's about people start to follow you for that reason, not out of fear, but the leadership of inspiration and encouragement and motivation. And I find that to be true, because this is not at all the work that I thought I'd be doing years ago. And I love what I do because I get to meet amazing people like yourselves that have amazing stories to tell, because we're all storytellers, right? We're telling the same story just in a different way from generations past. And for our listening audience out there, with Native American Heritage Month, you have a special gift for the listening audience. So I want to make sure that we open that up for our listening audience before we go to our final second break. And then I want to really get into the details and the content of this book and why you created this.
Okay, so we're so excited. November is Native American Heritage Month. It actually was started by Bush in 1990. He approved it on a national level. So because we want to honor our ancestors, we are going to give our book away, the Kindle version, the e-version, for free. That's how committed we are to this. So from Monday, November 22nd, through Friday, November 26th, if you go on Amazon, you can download our book for free. And it's our gift to you, so you can learn more about our culture and help us honor Native American Heritage Month in November.
I love that. Very kind, and I'll make sure to post that. Or you guys can post it on the Facebook page so people are aware of that. I highly recommend it for our listening audience out there. I really enjoyed reading it. A lot of knowledge and wisdom and transformations and healing and leadership in this book. So make sure to check that out. And that's going to be November 22nd through the 26th, the day after Thanksgiving, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So there you go, inspired listeners out there all around the globe, a free digital book. So make sure to go out there the week of the 22nd. And with that, just because of the timing, I think we'll go to our second break a little bit early. We'll come back and we're going to talk about the contents of the book and some of the lessons from the book, especially for you leaders out there and you future leaders. So we'll be back here in just a few minutes. Today we're talking about Cherokee Wisdom, 12 lessons for becoming a powerful leader.
The cutting edge of conscious radio. OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
Have you wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Imagine yourself being transported to India, to the banks of the Ganga and an ashram in Rishikesh. Visualize that you are welcome to satsang with an American sannyasi who shares the wisdom of her guru. Your visualization has manifested. Join Sattvi Bhagawati Saraswati for inspiration and transformation every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
One planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream. Dare to explore. Dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
If I could be you.
And you could be me. For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way.
To get inside each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Welcome back to Inspired Living Radio. Our special guest today, Cynthia M. Ruiz, a professor, best-selling author, executive coach, inspirational speaker, and leadership expert, along with Mr. Abraham Bearpaw, is a motivational speaker, cultural preservation activist, and family perseverance specialist. Both are our special guests today talking about their book, Cherokee Wisdom, 12 Lessons for Becoming a Powerful Leader, which they have offered to give away as a free Kindle digital version over on Amazon the week of November 22nd through the 26th to get the message out. Welcome back, guys. Let's talk all about this book and 12 Lessons for Becoming a Powerful Leader, because I'm getting tongue-tied.
So let me just jump right in here. And one of our core lessons in the book is integrity. You know, we live our lives with integrity. And the way we define integrity is doing the right thing even when no one else is looking. So sometimes it's easier to do the right thing if you know somebody else is, looking over your shoulder or is watching. But in the times when it's just you by yourself and you have a question or a dilemma, do the right thing, because everything's connected. So living your life with integrity is so important, and it really just resonates how you live your life and how you show up in the world. Abraham, what is one of the attributes you'd like to share?
One of them I'd like to share about is respectful. Being respectful, showing respect. And for me, that means not only respecting others, but respecting yourself as well. So, a lot of times we get lost in the hustle and bustle of everyday life. We're pulled in so many different directions, and oftentimes I feel like that leaves us feeling inadequate. We're bombarded by ads daily. I think that are intended to make us feel less than, so that we buy whatever product they're selling, right? So, we have all these ads coming at us, and, we have less time, it seems like, more demands on our time, and just so really respecting ourselves by taking that time to practice self-care, taking that time to practice self-compassion, taking that time to spend time with our families. And especially during the holidays, I remember as a young parent being so overwhelmed. Am I, going to be able to buy the right present? And I have to spend this much money and get this new phone and all of these demands, let alone we're still in the pandemic, right? So, respect is just, really respecting yourself, loving yourself, treating yourself well, cutting yourself a break, that, hey, you know what? We are doing the best we can, and we are doing a great job right now. And then respecting others. During this time, a little compassion goes a long way. Some of the people who have changed my day the most are actually the drive-through attendants, at the fast food restaurants. Just a kind word. When I'm having a bad day, it really, really helped me out. So just respecting yourself and respecting others, I think is really big.
Another lesson I'd like to share.
The golden rule.
Share from the book is be strong. Cherokees are strong people. We're resilient. And when we talk about strong, I talk about mind, body, and spirit. Keep your mind strong. Keep learning. Keep your mind active. Keep your body strong by eating healthy and getting exercise. And keep your spirit strong. What I do to keep my spirit strong, I do 3 things every day. I start off with gratitude. I do my gratitude list. And then throughout the day, I pray and meditate. I like to say that prayer is talking to the Creator and meditation is listening. So we all need to be strong mind, body, and spirit as we move forward in our individual journey in life.
Yes, thank you, Cynthia. And then the last one I'd like to share about is cooperation. I think, during the pandemic, during this time, we've really shown that we make it farther working together. And, of course, I know, in our politics, in our leaders, a lot of time this is something that is lacking. But for our future leaders, for our current leaders, one thing I would like to say is just go out and, put your ego aside. I think, that's one of the things Cherokee leaders are expected to do. All of these attributes, they are expected of our leaders. And I know, in today's society, a lot of times these can be overlooked if you have money, right? You can be a jerk if you have money, and so just getting back, though, to these core principles, these core teachings, aren't just going to help us get more accomplished, but we're going to set a better example for the next generation to come, because they're going to be the leaders, right? And they're going to be the ones making the decisions when we're elders. And so we want to, give them all of the tools necessary so that they can be the best they can be.
I love that. Self-care, self-compassion, respect, integrity, maybe take a mental health day just to, strengthen the mind, the body, and the spirit. All good stuff. And I think we're going to see that in our Roaring 20s, this next decade of transformation. How do I know that? Because William Shatner, a.k.a. James T. Kirk, just went to outer space. How more transformative can you get than that, right? And I think that'll ripple down to many different levels within society, within eventually politics, within the family, within consumer goods. This pandemic has really triggered a lot for the younger generations and has woke a lot of the generations behind us, care for the planet, not so much into consumerism. We're seeing that right now, even with the supply chain. And that's, I always wonder, is that by chance, or is that a lesson that we need to learn about being so inundated with stuff? And, the word integrity, am I saying this word right? Kaliwohi for integrity? Is that Cherokee? Is that how you say that in Cherokee for integrity?
Kaliwohi, yes.
Kaliwohi. Okay. I always like to learn new languages and new ways to say something. So maybe I'll write about this in the future, because you're right. Integrity is doing the right thing when nobody's looking. And that's where we need to move forward. And like I said, I really enjoyed reading this book, you guys. I'm inspired because you took the time to do the second edition and to add more content and more inspiration, and now give it away for free, which is, again, much gratitude and very humbled that you would do that on my show. And, if the audience wants to get in touch with you guys, for the both of you, because I know that you both are motivational speakers and leaders in your respected rights, how does the listening audience listening to this show, either today or in the future, how do they get a hold of you guys?
Well, I'll start. So for me, it's very easy. They can visit my website. My website is my name, Cynthia, Cynthia M, Ruiz, Ruiz.com. And then I'm all over social media. I am like Mark, trying to keep up with Mark. I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, pretty much everything. Or if you want to personalize it, you can email me. My email is Cynthia@CynthiaMRuiz.com. And I love to connect with people, especially spiritual people. And Mark, I know you're so amazing and you're connected to so many great people. So yeah, let's keep in touch. Abraham?
Yes, thank you, Cynthia. For me, you can also find me on Facebook, or you can email me. And my email is my last name also. It's Bearpaw, Bearpaw, and then the letter A. So it's bearpawa@gmail.com. And, you can reach me anytime. I'm actually looking forward to another book I'm going to have coming out in the new year entitled Walking in Balance. So, if, self-care and all of these principles is something that, you find that, you would like to promote more in your life, definitely reach out to me.
Awesome, you guys. Thanks for that. And make sure to get my attention of myself or my team for that book, Abraham, so we can continue these conversations, because a lot of this is storytelling and inspiring others. And, it is a reminder. What I tell people often, take the time to disconnect so you can make the time to reconnect, whether that's through nature, through meditation, through prayer, through exercise, through good rest. There's a lot of information that's flowing. I just took some training, and we've got more information flowing at us and through us with all the different outlets in the last 2 years than the last 10,000 years. That's a lot of information, and we wonder why society is so stressed out with depression, anxiety, and suicides, and divide, because there's just too much information. And one of the quotes in your book from the Cherokee elder and healer Crosland Field Smith, she said, "We can no longer afford to support separation among peoples. separation with self or separation from our past and future. Honor and nurture our oneness with all humanity. And I truly believe from my visions and from my meditations that the great coming together is going to encompass and embody that, to where we all come together as humanity, as one, and have acceptance for our differences and how we look and who we worship and our sexuality. We're seeing it all in what we, our religious, whatever may that be. We're seeing it. We're witnessing. We have a front row seat, you guys, to some very transformative historical moments that's going to take place in this next decade, what I call the Roaring 20s. And I'm inspired by you guys. And so before we close the show, what I like to do, you guys didn't know this. This isn't part of the script or plan or anything that you guys knew was going to happen. But if you know how I work, sometimes I just work by inspiration. And I really want to know, between the both of you, Cynthia, ladies first, who or what inspires you, and what would you like to do moving forward to make a change?
So who inspires me is the Cherokee women in my life who have all made what we say walked on. There's no word in Cherokee for goodbye. We just say they walked on. My mom actually passed away or made her transition earlier this year, and so I stand on the shoulders of the Cherokee women that have come before me. And so the change I'd like to see in this world, and I'm already seeing it with Gen Z, I would like to see more love, compassion, tolerance, and humanity in this world. And I realized to see that, I need to show up like that. And so I'm excited. My heart is filled with hope. And as long as I know that there's, men like you, Mark and Abraham, that show up in a good way for the divine masculine, it's really about working together and creating that balance and harmony in the world.
Well said.
Thank you, Cynthia, for sharing that. Yeah, that's actually the same thing I was going to say. Definitely the strong women that I've had in my life, they've always been great role models and sources of inspiration for me. So in addition to that, I would like to say Gen Z, watching this next generation and, really embrace equality and embrace, the fight to, progress and, to bring about change in the country. It's been inspiring to see that. And so that's made me, get out into the limelight to share this message even more, because I'm not, I'm kind of behind the scenes kind of guy. I'm just fine, teaching classes, doing this, but, I never really considered myself a leader. But looking around at all these young people taking these healthy risks to better themselves, and to, progress all of these really great ideas, it just really inspired me to say, you know what I have to say has value. What I have to say may be helpful to somebody. And so it's really my responsibility to get out there and do my part, especially when all these young people are doing the same.
Yes, get out there and do your part. Just show up every day, right? Every day is an opportunity to be a better version of yourself than yesterday, and just show up. That's what my mentor teaches to me all the time. Just show up, and that golden rule that you were talking about earlier, Bear. Treat others as you like to be treated. Pay it forward, and start that ripple effect that we're going to start to see in the years ahead of us. And Cynthia, my condolences on the passing of your mother. But as my listening audience knows, I don't believe that death is the end. Death is just the beginning, and that she's not gone. She's only ever a thought away, and life continues after this journey that we call the physical body and life. I just know that because of the thousands of readings I've done with people all across the world, and your mom is smiling and happy and very, very much alive, almost doing a little bit of a fire dance. So, my condolences here for the physical, but the reunion of her truly living and being alive, dancing around a fire, and just, being a part of today's conversation is also a big part of the work that I do. So, go ahead.
Thank you for that, Mark. And so I just like to tell everybody to rise and shine. Rise to your power and shine your light.
Let your light shine. Find that diamond within you guys. If there's no pressure, there's no diamond in the laws of physics. And so take those pressures and those disappointments and those failures, which is first attempt in learning, and let that all be a part of your authentic higher self, and let your light shine and bring that diamond into the world, because we all could use a little bit more sparkle. And so with that, Cynthia and Bear, thank you so much for being a guest on Inspired Living Radio. I'd love to have you guys come back in 2022. We'll be back for our 7th season, if you can believe that already.
Wow.
And continue some of the conversations that we have going. Bear, with your new book coming out. And again, if you want to get this book, it's going to be on Amazon for free the week of November 22nd through the 26th. So make sure to go get that digital copy, especially for the celebration of Native American Heritage Month, this month of November. And I'm just going to leave us with a quote from your book, from the wonderful Will Rogers. And I think this is so right in line with where we're at and what's going on. And I look forward to talking to you guys again on another conversation. And again, check out the book, Cherokee Wisdom, 12 Lessons for Becoming a Powerful Leader. And we'll close the show with this. We will never have true civilization until we have learned to recognize the rights of others. And that is the wonderful and famous Will Rogers. You guys, thanks so much for being on the show today, and I look forward to connecting and continuing the journey and soul adventure of inspiring, encouraging, motivating, and becoming leaders today, but the leaders of tomorrow and the leaders yet to come. So thank you so much for being on Inspired Living Radio.
Wado. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.